days over Israel hosting next year's contest. The cultural minister is saying that the host city has to be Jerusalem or nothing, and now another minister is saying that Jerusalem doesn't have the resources to host next year's contest. Meanwhile, reports have just come in saying, and then the last couple of days, that KAN, the Israeli broadcaster who is expected to host next year's contest, apparently doesn't have the funds and that to pay up to the EBU. So, big discussions going on at the moment, so let's talk about it. With what the cultural minister was saying, there's a report by the Times of Israel, which is an online Israeli newspaper, saying that the cultural minister, Miri Regev, I'm not sure how you say her name, so forgive me, she states that she doesn't believe that the public funds should be used to host next year's contest unless the venue and the host city is Jerusalem. Now, a few days ago, another minister from Israel, Michael Oren, again I don't know how you say his name, so forgive me, spoke to TVM, the Maltese broadcaster, while I was in Malta, saying that Jerusalem now doesn't have the funds and the requirements to host next year's contest, according to the requirements given out by the EBU. So the big question is, does Jerusalem actually have the requirements to host the contest or not? So that's one question. Now, another problem that's arisen is that apparently KAN, which is the Israeli broadcaster that's apparently supposed to be hosting next year's contest, after Channel 1 of course closed down last year, apparently they don't have the funds that's required to pay to the EBU. Now, according to an article by ESC today, the host nation has up until the end of the month, and that's to pay the 12 million euros that is required, and that by each host nation to give to the EBU in order to do the hosting. Now, if they knew that they were going to have problems, why accept to host it in the first place? We already have an issue with the host cities. Apparently Tel Aviv is now going to be the front runner for hosting the contest, but then again the venues, there's a lot of people at the moment on social media who are claiming that the venue that they've selected isn't going to be good enough for the contest, especially in modern day terms. Haifa has already announced that they're not going to be going in for the host city. Jerusalem already has problems even before everything was all the reports mentioned. We all know it's going to be problematic. There's already issues there at the moment, but I'm not going to go too much into that. So apparently KN doesn't have the funds. Now, according to the Prime Minister, who's already said that the government have already repeatedly said that they're not going to pay up. The Prime Minister has mentioned, apparently, according to, I can't remember the name, I'll put the article up anyway, has already mentioned that KN apparently has the funds to do it. So the question is, do they have the funds or not? Now, we're very close to the end of July. It's only a matter of days to go before that 12 million euros has to be paid up. So now the question remains, if the 12 million euros isn't paid up, then what's going to happen in terms of the hosting? Is Israel going to end up getting an extension and go, right, we'll give you so many days to pay up, if you don't, then we're going to have to come up with plan B? Is Israel going to get the hosting or not? Or are we going to is the EBU going to turn around and go, are we going to have a different country? And then there's further problems come up, because they could very well go and say, well, if you're not going to pay up the money, you're not going to host, we're going to take the rights off you. So then they may turn around and go, okay, Cyprus, you came second, do you want to host? And if they do, you can go to Cyprus, and then they're going to choose go for another bid in where cities and or towns or whatever provide a venue that might be suitable for hosting, and even then there may be issues. Or they may do another thing where they give it to another nation that has the funds, that has the resources, For instance, they may turn to the Netherlands, they may turn to the UK, they may turn to Germany. No one really knows what could happen. So the hosting at the moment, or the location, even the country at the moment, is all up in the air. And until another few days' time, I don't think we're going to actually know what's going on. And of course, there's a lot of questions, and they've been asked, nothing's really been answered. And apparently until September, we're not going to know what's going on. So the question is Israel going to host? After all, is it going to be a completely different? Is it going to be a completely different country? So yeah, I thought I'd just talk about this and then see what your thoughts were. If you have any thoughts, feel free to add them into the comments below. Other than that, I will see you next time in that further news or whatever. Anyway, thanks.